Well, I thought we'd come out here St. Patty's Day and see what the garden looks like after the rain. Everything's still pretty wet, but look at that rose bush. It's putting out growth. And that was just a rose cutting. My hollyhocks have all come up in that pot. I've got flower seed that I put out here coming up. In several places. All that little stuff popped out of the ground. That's mostly the flower seed that I put out. My rose bush has got a rose on it. Look at that. Well, it's got a bud. It's got several buds. So we're going to have roses. I got seeds coming up here. So I'm sure glad I got them out before the rain. I don't know what's what because I've got peppers, I've got eggplant, I've got flower seed, everything all mixed. So we'll see what it is when it comes up. I don't see my cucumber seeds popped out of the ground yet. But my crepe myrtle, right there, it is definitely putting out leaves. So it didn't die, it's coming back. All my crepe myrtles are, I think, except that one in the corner way out there. We'll have to go check on it. Yeah, that was just a whim. Sticking that cutting down in there just to see if it would root in there with that peppermint, and it is probably, because it's putting out new growth. And I still haven't moved my aloe vera. I got to get all that moved. Sunflowers, look at those sunflowers coming up there. Right along with the moonflowers. Perpetual spinach. My zucchini. Let's go check on my crepe myrtle out here. But I got purple flowers out here, yellow ones. They're kind of little, but they are pretty when they're blooming. And I got my blue bonnets. I see a couple of hills of blue bonnets. And look at my mums. That's the only one of the mums that survived. And I don't think that crepe myrtle's going to do anything, so I may end up pulling that out. I don't know about these rose bushes here either. They aren't looking good. Those are the cuttings. They're still alive, but they're not really putting out any growth. This one either. So I may end up giving up on the roses on this property line and put something else over here. Look at all the moonflowers. They come up from seed from last year. And I got cantaloupe, perpetual spinach. And I come out here and planted seeds all the way around the edge of the rock garden. Marigolds, right along with the blanket flowers that are all those little plants you see around the edge. They're all blanket flowers. I'm just hoping they do survive and they'll bloom, which they should with all this rain we've had. Because this is the shady side of the tree, and not too much. The moonflowers just didn't do well on this side. They like the side over there with the sun. So I'm going to have to find something to put over here on the back side that likes to grow in the shade. Oops. Walk right into that tree limb. But see, there's my moonflowers. They're all coming up on this side of the rock garden. Some of them are looking pretty good. Look at that one, how big it is. I got to get out here and mow again. And I got moonflowers planted in those pots right along with my melon and everything else. It's a big moonflower plant right there. Look at all these wildflowers. I've got to mow again. And I hate to do it because all these are flowers. Look at that. They're all little pink flowers. The greens are looking good. Let's see how much rain we got here. Looks like we got about an inch and a half almost, or inch and a quarter of rain. Guess we can pour it out now. But I got a zucchini over there. I've got my greens, and I got my sunflower coming up back there. And look at all these flowers. There's blanket flowers, these little pink flowers everywhere. It's beautiful. And I don't want to mow these. It's all flowers. And look at my bok choy. It was a good thing that I moved them out here in the separate pots, because they're starting to grow some. And there's this crepe myrtle that looked like it was dead. Look at all the blanket flowers. This whole ground is covered with blanket flowers and these little pink ones. And there's little Betty. Yeah. Coming around here meowing. And I'm going on a garden tour. He's got to come with me. Let's check on our watermelon. See if these have come up yet. No, not yet, but they will, because I just planted those in seed the other day. See, I've got these little pink flowers and the yellow ones just all over the yard from all that seed I planted years ago. All of that's blanket flowers. And I do not want to mow them. My potatoes, and see, I've got to put more dirt in them. Potatoes, my onions, and a sunflower back there. And look at those greens right there. Isn't that something? And that one survived all winter. The banana trees are, I don't know, I guess maybe they'll survive. I don't know. And I don't know what that is come up there voluntarily. And I do know I got a volunteer potato right there with my banana tree. I started another composting bucket because my compost bin and my other compost pile is pretty full. More potatoes. I'm not sure what that is. It may be sunflowers. You know, I planted seed here. Hot peppers at the bottom. And I think it was greens at the top. But look at my okras coming up. This is the only place so far that I've planted okra is right here in this blue swimming pool. And I've got 5 or 6 or so plants there. My walking onions, look how good they look. My greens. I think these are kale. And I got perpetual spinach in these other ones over here. I got a pot of seeds haven't come up here yet. But this is a zucchini right there. Of course, my clematis. That's not doing too well on this side, but it's trying to grow. Oh, and look. Maybe that one has rooted. It's putting out new growth. That one's still alive, but it's not put out leaves yet. And that one looks like it's trying to put out leaves, but it's not yet. And there's my yellow squash and a sunflower. And I think that's okra coming up back there voluntarily. And there's my yellow squash here and a sunflower. But look at all my blanket flowers. They're coming up everywhere with these little pink ones. These pink ones are beautiful. They're all over the yard. Isn't that pretty? Isn't that pretty? They're all over the whole yard. You see why I don't want to mow? Now this little one, this cutting is starting to put out leaves, so maybe it's rooted. This one has too. It's starting to put out leaves. And of course that one was from last year, so it's got buds on it, so it's going to have roses opening pretty soon. And see, that one never did anything. So I got to pull that out, put something else there. But I got blanket flowers started all in here too. That's the blanket flowers right there. I got rosebuds there. All my knockout roses are looking good. And that one's looking real good that I trimmed all the way back to the ground. My bearded iris, they should be blooming by Easter, hopefully. I think they needed this good rain to get them to going. Because I don't like to water them. I found if I water them, they get too tall and spindly, and they fall over too bad. If I let nature water them, you know, with the rain, and then let them grow on their own, they come up tougher, so they don't fall over as easy. But there's my golden Detroit beets, and I got tomato plants coming up right there. My greens. And I think that's a squash. My golden tomato, look. I got 3 or 4 of them come up here. I got one there. It's a little bit, it'll turn into a big plant. And there's one. More yellow beets. I've never planted that type of beet before, so we'll see how it does. And I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and plant me some flowers or something in this. I don't like the romaine lettuce, and that's what's in the bottom. I'd rather have the green lettuce. But I got tomatoes started there with my greens. Look at the leaves on this. I need to harvest it. And I got perpetual spinach right there. Golden tomato right there. 3 of them come up. I'll let them get bigger and then I might move some of them. But I think after this rain, my parsnips is starting to come up. That's what that looks like right there. So we'll see. I was told it takes about 30 days for those to germinate. And there's my yellow squash. And look at all my compost tea buckets are full from the runoff of the totes. My greens. And that's basil right there coming up. Another pot of potatoes. Yeah, I got to do something else with this. I might move it back to the patio after I get the kale and Chinese cabbage and the other stuff transplanted. The rutabaga looks pretty good up there, but it does need to be thinned out because they get kind of big, so I need to transplant them. And then I've got, I don't remember what I put in there. I didn't write it on the stick. It's the melon or squash or something. I don't remember. But look at my peas. My peas and my beans. They're all coming up for the most part. Got some coming up under here. And hopefully they will go up the trellis. Coming up there. All this rain we've had, they had to do something. Yeah, I need to open the door here, I'm thinking. Don't want it to get too hot in there. I don't know if it's going to rain anymore today or not. It might just start fairing up from here on in. But I've got more hillbilly tomatoes coming up right there. I've got black diamond watermelon right there. I've got a hillbilly tomato coming up there. I've got canary yellow melons down here. And I got to get them transplanted. Gold medal tomatoes here. Sweet dumpling squash that I haven't transplanted. I got 3 of them still down in there. And like I said, my rose cuttings here are not doing any good. I'm just going to trash them. And I've got Hungarian hot wax peppers come up here. Looks like I need to put some more water to them. And I got sweet red macaroni peppers starting to come up here. And little buddy's in the greenhouse. He likes hanging out everywhere. And you know, my bush beans haven't started coming up yet. You know, I planted this whole tower in bush beans. Well, there's one right there. So they are starting to come up. Just starting to pop up through the ground. I don't see any more. So that's the first one. Right there. But isn't that green looking pretty? All my greens are. And I've got the pole beans coming up. They're foot-long beans. And my sunflowers, I guess I'm going to have to leave these pots right here to the sunflowers. They've taken over. Which that'll be okay. I'll just have a bed of sunflowers on this side, this corner. But I still got to plant all these. I still got to plant my cinder blocks. All those have to be planted. All of these. I did plant red sliceling tomato there. You know, where I just took a slice off of that tomato and popped it in there. So I should be able to get tons of plants coming up from that to transplant in some of these other pots. But my Egyptian walking onions are looking terrific. My peppers. And look at my raspberry bush. Isn't that beautiful? And it's getting so big. That is beautiful right there. I hope it has some raspberries on it this year. But I haven't planted anything in most of these pots yet. There's my potatoes. I should be getting some potatoes out of there this year. Hopefully. My cucumbers have not started coming up. Well, yeah, they have right there. There's one that just barely popped up out of the ground. So they're starting to come up. You know, this is going to be my cucumber bed this year. Let them grow up on these trellises. And I got that one tree collard that survived. And it looks like it's taking root to where it'll grow. And if it does, I can get more cuttings off of that. I planted a yellow squash here, but it's not come up yet. Haven't planted those yet. But yeah, I was interested to see what everything looked like after the rain. And as soon as these cucumber vines come up, I'm going to put some wood mulch to them. I planted, can't see what it was. It's like yellow squash here. It's not come up yet. Yellow squash in that bucket. My walking onions, look at that. They're looking terrific. And my potato in the I got potatoes coming up all over my all over this compost bin. And these are full. See, but they're not broken down yet. I need to spin them since I'm out here. Let's see if I can spin them. Oh, they're heavy. Oh my goodness, that's heavy. Woo, that's heavy. Spin this other one. I have not been spinning it as much as I should be. And I have not been keeping water in it like I should either. But remember, we got all these planted in tomatoes, bell pepper, hot peppers, sunflowers. That's sunflowers. And look at my asparagus. Got some more shoots of asparagus since all this rain. I got almost enough to cook right there for a meal for one person. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 coming up. I'll wait another day, see what happens. And that is, what did I plant there? That's the eggplant in this pot. Canary yellow squash or melon. And I got an eggplant planted in the little one. It hasn't come up. But I've got sweet dumpling squash here. I've got gold medal tomatoes there. And I'm probably going to have to pull one of those out. Gold medal here, tomatoes. There's 2 of them coming up right there. And there's my walking onions. And I've got, it looks like a hornet's nest or something they're building up under that parsley. See, it's starting to grow again since I cut off all that dead part of it. And I need to put me a tomato plant in this pot. And I'll probably put peppers in these pans here again this year, because I haven't planted anything in them yet. They're waiting to be planted. The grass is still so wet, I've got my boots on out here. Yeah, I need to get something planted in these other pots. Transplanted in them or what. But look at the clematis here. Look how pretty that is growing. It's in the partial shade here. And I found that the clematis seems like in this Texas heat likes a little bit of shade, because it's not doing well out there. I don't know if it gets too hot on it or what. May have to find something else to put out there. But yeah, I don't have any of these pots planted yet. I've got my greens in the top of this, but I don't have anything planted in the bottom yet. But I do have red slicing tomatoes planted in both of these. So we'll see if they come up. I got marigolds planted here and in that little pot. Peppermint. And look at this. It needs to go under there and up. I don't want it to grow on the ground. But I'm hoping it will bloom. I haven't seen it bloom yet. Maybe it will this year. But all this is getting ready to bloom. It's got great big flower pods on it. Look at that. It'll be blooming in a couple of days. All those pods will open. And I've got stuff coming up in here. I hope I got some of those hollyhocks coming back. They may have died out. They're perennials. They should come back every year, but growing them in a pot like this, they may get too cold. And they may have frozen. Well, I got to clean off my stuff. All this needs to be put out there on the line and washed. It's terrible. This dust out here has got it filthy. But there's what I call my Easter flowers. They come up at Easter every year, and I don't know what the name of them is. They're purple. And will they bloom? My dandelions, daffodils, or whatever they call them. I'm hoping so. They're looking good. My lilies are coming up. Look at all the wildflower seed that went way over there. I got the woods over there covered in wildflowers. I planted marigold seeds in here too, to come up right along with the daylilies. I don't have too many of my daylilies coming up here this year. For some reason. Some of them may have died out from being too dry last year, since I couldn't water them. But some of them survived and they're coming up. These have too. And look at the cutting there. It's putting out leaves, so maybe it's rooted. My mums are coming up. My yellow rose of Texas. My mums, and I put flower seed out here. Look, some of them's popping up. I put mums and a few other things out here mixed. Sunflower. And look at there, that's got buds on it. It's gonna be blooming. And it looks like my blanket flowers are gonna live. Look. Standing up straight with all this rain. I knew if I could get them planted, transplanted during all the rain, they should survive. But I got daylilies, I've got gladiolas. Those tall ones are gladiolas coming up. I've got all kind of flower bulbs out here. If they survive that dry spell last year, where they can come back up. Looks like most of my daylilies did. That's what those are, daylilies. I spread daylilies all out through here. But I see some of them don't look like they're coming back. Hopefully most of them will. And there's some of the flower seed that I put out the other day. It's all coming up. So I'll have flowers out here regardless. See, there's more of those Easter flowers, as I call them, because they'll come up and bloom at Easter. For the life of me, I can't remember what they call them. But there's that crepe myrtle. It's looking good. I almost thought it had died, but it's coming back, and this one is too. All this rain, it had to start growing. Look at the leaves that's coming on it. It's a darker color than that one. I think it's the same as this. Look at all the pink flowers. They're everywhere. And I don't want to mow them down. And all this here, it's not grass. It's blanket flowers. My whole yard is a bed of wildflowers. I planted bags and bags. Pound bags of wildflower seed a couple of years ago. And now it's all coming up all over the yard. I said, well, I don't have grass, but hey, I can grow wildflowers. And see, there's some of the seed coming up here. So, I just want to see my my cucumber seeds come up. I want to see my cucumber vines pop up out of the ground. But I planted seeds all out here around my rose bushes. I should have trimmed that big stalk off and let it all come back up together. I still may do that. I had a couple of the aloe vera, the little pots, too far back, and it didn't get rained on. Give them some water. Doesn't take much for aloe vera, but they do like water. So, and there's that aloe vera that was transplanted. You know, I had to break up all those other ones that were too much in one pot. I had 8 aloe vera plants all coming up in one pot. Maybe I'll start seeing some hummingbirds after this rain. And I don't know about my pineapple. I don't know if it's going to do anything. I don't know if it's time for it to come sprout out or not. But I'm going to leave it there and see what happens. Yeah, all these pretty pink flowers. Aren't they beautiful? I'm so far away from them you can't really see them, but look. They're all over my yard like that. Isn't that beautiful? And when those blanket flowers start blooming, oh my God, that's going to be beautiful too. Because I've got blanket flowers spread out all over my yard now. And you reckon I'll ever get to finish the foundation to that bird bath? Oh, I've just had so much come up that I needed to do that I just haven't got with that and finished it. So we'll see. But isn't that pretty? It's a pretty sight, y'all. Pretty sight indeed. So, that's the update on the garden after the storm went through. Everything's looking good. Wildflowers, crepe myrtles, the garden, everything is just growing. So, I'll see you on my next one. Y'all have a blessed day.